Welcome back. Another week. I am back from the beach. Wow, what a week. My almost 3-year-old, trying to practice that because he's almost 3 and calling him a 2-year-old. That's short-lived though, right? Like you don't want to give up any part of the time, but I'm also trying to prepare myself. I did that last time because you know how like in the first 2 months, no, first 2 years, you call them by their months, like 16 months, because 16 months is different than 12 months, is different than 20 months. And a lot changes. And then probably around 20, 21 months. So he was toilet trained at 21 months. He started walking at 10 months, which like, again, that's a big difference between like 10 months when he started walking and 12 months when he started, like it's just crazy. Right. And so then I toilet trained him at 21 months. And that's when I was like, I'm not saying 21 months. I'm saying 2. He's 2. So he's 2. And that actually really emotionally helped me, which is not at all what I'm talking about, but look at me going off on tangents. Who cares? You're here anyway. Right. So it really helped me emotionally prepare myself for when he turned 2. And so that's the other thing too, man, I'm going off on so many tangents. With my firstborn, I knew I wanted a second and was putting in the energy out there that I was just magically going to have the second baby and it was going to work. And I'm very lucky and grateful that, obviously my daughter was a twin and we lost that miscarriage, or we lost that baby. No, we don't use that word. I lost that pregnancy, which is still devastating, but I am very lucky that we have her. And I just knew with my firstborn that I was like, oh, but I'm going to have another one. Oh, I'm going to have another one. Oh, go ahead and start walking. Go ahead and start crawling. Go ahead and start eating regular solid foods. Go ahead. It's okay that you're not breastfeeding anymore and just want to eat breast milk out of a bottle for another however many months. That's fine. I'm going to have another one. It's fine. And then this one's here and it's like, my baby. And I'm so excited because she's doing all these fun new things. They're so much fun. Like even this last week when we were gone, it was so great that we were with her every day for those many days because she was just communicating so much more. Like if you blow her a kiss, mwah, she'll back at you, not with her hand because she's 11 months old. Or like if you ask her if she's hungry, which please don't come to me and say, but Meg, have you heard of baby sign? Yes, y'all, I've heard of baby sign language. My kids go to a Montessori school. Okay. Don't come for me. Okay. I know what baby sign language is. She knows baby sign language. It's okay if she makes up her own words too. Please don't DM me. Don't post on my Facebook wall. Yes, I know what baby sign language is. If you ask her like, oh, do you want to eat? Are you hungry? She'll go, she'll like pop her little lips. Not the same as mwah for the kiss. There's a difference. But she pops her lips, which I think is really cute. And then she was playing with a lotion bottle in my son's room before bedtime after bath one night. And she like crawled around and kind of left it over on the other side of the room. And I was like, McKinney, go get the lotion bottle, go get it. And she actually crawled over and grabbed it and like turned around and like kind of waved her arms like, yeah, look, do you see it? Hi, it's right here. And then she put it in her mouth. So obviously she wasn't fully like, yes, I will go grab you this bottle of lotion. And yes, I will bring it right on over to you. And go ahead and rub this on my brother. Like she didn't know all of that. I'm not a crazy person, but I thought it was really cool to get to see all of that. Anyway, all of that tangent to come back to like, he's almost 3. I call her almost 1. That's been very helpful for me to like process the fact that they're moving forward, the fact that they're moving on into their next chapters of life. And it's a good thing. And I'm really excited and I'll miss the tiny baby ness of it all. I miss not having to block off everything in this quad level house that we live in here in Kansas City. It's very difficult to block off a 70s house with many, many floors with a climbing. She climbs. I didn't think she climbed like her brother, but she does. But so they went to the beach, they went to the pool. My son loved the beach. My daughter loved to sleep at the beach in her little tent, but she did not want to sit in the sand and she did not like the cold ocean water, which it wasn't that cold. Let's not complain. It was May. She loved the pool. I've never seen a more relaxed little bebe in a little, like one of those little floaty, like she had, for those of you who are on YouTube can see me like laying with her arms out in front of her, little rafts with a little sunshade on it. And she just lived. It was wonderful. And then she loved swimming and she doesn't really love to be tossed in the air like my son does. But I saw this meme once where it was Robert Downey Jr. Like snuggling his daughter on a beach towel in a chair. And then in another episode, another photo, it was him dangling his son by the ankle. And I'm like, that's obviously, those are moments in time. We don't know what he does in the rest of his spare time with his children, but it was like the difference between dads and sons and dads and daughters. And I was like, my husband is an equal opportunity ankle dangler. I don't know about y'all, but he is an ankle dangler for the vaginas and the penis children. It does not matter. They're getting dangled by their ankle, but he also respects their autonomy to not be thrown in the water. So she's not into it as much as my son is. My son loves it, but I don't know, not to sound complaining, that long 5-minute tangent of everything. But yeah, does anybody ever feel relaxed after having come home from any sort of vacation with children? Like, please let me know what it is. Where did you go? What did you do? How many nannies did you bring with you? I'm just kidding. We don't have that option here anyway, but obviously just really grateful for the opportunity to spend time with my kids and be with them consistently. Like, I love getting to send them to school. I love to be able to work. I love what they're learning at Shula. Like, they love it. I get little pictures and stuff sometimes, and all the teachers over there, even the teachers that aren't their teachers, like, oh, your son came up and did this and blah, blah, blah. Or I saw your daughter did that today. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that you had spent time with my kid. That's so great. I love it. The more people who can love them, the better, right? And so I feel really good and supported about that. But it's also really nice to just have like some time and get to sit with them. So anyway, I don't know how I got off on all of that tangent. I guess I was talking about being back from a week off. So I am grateful to be back. It's so nice to be back to work. I love I have such great clients right now who are really motivated to do some work, some hard work sometimes, talk about some real things, talk about some goals and some solutions, and figure out what we're going to do to get going towards those. What I wanted to talk about today was, so I am going on, whenever you listen to this, who knows when it'll be, it could be 5 years from now, but as it is right now, I'm going next week. Next Friday and Saturday, I am spending with Karen Kleiman, who is doing a perinatal mental health training. And I'm really excited too, because I live here in Kansas City. And as you all have heard, if you've listened to the podcast at all, if this is your first time, a quick refresh for everybody else. We moved here at the start of the pandemic, March 19th, 2020. Is when we got into Kansas City. Our stuff got here the next day. And then that was a Friday that our stuff got here. We got here on a Thursday, and Monday in Kansas was a shelter in place order for the pandemic. And so even though we had this great little neighborhood full of people around our age, children around our son's age, none of us were seeing each other because none of us knew each other. None of us, that was not our bubble, which for us, our bubble was just the three of us and our puppy dog. So it's been really nice to get the opportunity to kind of branch out and see some people who are mental health professionals generally, not necessarily just in perinatal mental health, but I've got to meet with other people outside of the space and inside the space, which is great. And so there's one of our providers in her office are all participating in it as well. So it's virtual because it's out of Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. Sorry, apologies to the great state of Pennsylvania. I can't remember which one because I'm not going. It's over Zoom, so I don't have to be there. So I don't have to know, but I do apologize to my Pennsylvanian friends out there. So, yes, so I'm really excited for that. And I'm excited to get to spend some time with some Kansas City people here and learn. And I was reading this book. It is called The Art of Holding in Therapy. For those of you who are on YouTube, you can see. If you are not, you can't see. But again, it's Karen Kleiman, Kleiman, an essential intervention for postpartum depression and anxiety, which is a very a full encapsulated term for perinatal mental health. And there's so much good in it that I've been reading, but this is the one that I like. Actually, I dog-eared the page. This is my book, so I can color in it and do whatever I want with it. Don't do that to library books, obviously. But I wanted to talk because I feel like we've had a lot of people recently. I've done some trainings with My Mind Body Baby. We did an episode with Michelle a while ago, which was wonderful and very well received. And I've done a couple of trainings with her and some Instagram lives with some of her groups, which have been just a blessing for me. It's so wonderful to get to participate in such things and have conversations and be able to help people literally across. One of the people was in Portugal on vacation because she's from Australia, but she was in Portugal during it, and people from Great Britain and obviously from Canada, obviously. But yeah, and so that was really great. And even today, which again, whenever you listen to this, it doesn't matter, but she had posted about just the stupid, I guess you shouldn't use the word stupid, but like the stupid things people say to you to try to make you feel better about your fertility journey. And again, I think the biggest thing is that we feel like we can't sit in our discomfort with like other people's stress make us uncomfortable. And so in our discomfort, we're like, well, what can I say to get you to shut up? Even though that's not your intention, like that's not your, it might be your intention. What do I know? It's probably not your intention to be like, God, this person whining about not being able to have babies again. I don't think that that's what I hope that's not what you're saying. We'll have a different conversation if it is. I don't think that's what you're saying, but I think subconsciously that's kind of where your mind goes, or I'm so uncomfortable right now. I need you to stop talking about it because I can't sit in this tension. I can't sit in this space of discomfort. And so people say some of the craziest things, like if you just calm down, go on vacation. So this is Michelle said, go on vacation, try this, just adopt. Oh, that is so offensive in so many. Adoption is so beautiful and lovely and real. And when people suggest using it as a tactic to have biological children, it's just a whole different conversation from the day. Please, if that is your go-to suggestion for people, I encourage you to stop now. Stop yesterday. Stop. Shut it down. Shut it down. Stop. If you want to discuss adoption with somebody from a place of curiosity, or because they brought it up and you want to know more about their journey, that's a different thing. But please don't suggest adoption as a fertility cure. I can't. Just drink wine and forget about it. Mine was always yoga. I can't tell you how many people were like, just do some yoga. And like, y'all know I'm chatty McChats right here. I'm literally talking to myself. Well, I'm talking to my laptop, talking to myself, but I know that I'm talking to you because I feel you with me. I know you listen. I'm not going to say what people, I've just some really, really hurtful, nasty things people have said about like, I'm very anxious and energetic. I wouldn't call myself very anxious. I have some anxieties, and certainly the perinatal space for me has caused me some anxiety, but I would say energetic, loud would be an accurate way of describing me. I don't use that as a negative. It can be like in a funeral, don't be loud. I don't see loud as a bad thing, but some people certainly do. And I'm not for everybody, and that's fine. But some people have taken me not being for them as an opportunity to articulate that may have something to do with my fertility issues. So that's just the most wildly hurtful and insane thing I've had to deal with. So yeah, so it's so all of these things where people come up with air quotes advice on how to help you to fix yourself. I love the word fix, obviously, as well as a therapist. We love that. Yes, of course I'll fix you. I'm magic. I'm omniscient. I know everything. Of course, come to me and I'll tell you exactly how to run your life. That's what I went to grad school for. And now that's what I teach other people to do in grad school, is to know how to magically fix other people's lives. I'm sassy today. I don't know where this energy is coming from. I haven't had caffeine. This is decaf. Yes, it is. English breakfast decaf. I don't know. Anyway, feeling sassy. So my advice to you would be to stop giving people advice in general, because I don't know, unless you're a fertility specialist, in which case I'm paying you to give me advice and suggestions, and that's great. But yeah, so I saw that today on the My Mind Body Baby on Instagram. And I was like, yeah, feeling that. But it was interesting because it made me reflect back on this book that I've been reading ahead of next week's training. Again, who knows if it was next week? I may have already had this and been to it multiple times by the time you listen to this podcast, but I hope not. I hope you're caught up with me. And it's just been interesting of like, we feel like maternity, like, so fast forwarding past the fertility piece, that pregnancy is like the best time of your life. And oh, you have that pregnancy glow and you look wonderful. And people used to comment on my body all the time. Like, I was very lucky, I guess. Who cares? I'm building a baby, for goodness sake. Who cares what I look like? But I guess people thought I was lucky because I didn't gain a ton of weight. Like, you can't even tell that you're pregnant from behind. And I'm like, cool, I'm super pregnant right here and the baby's alive. So that's like where I'm looking at. That's my, okay. So again, like, just don't comment on pregnant people's bodies. Anyway, I don't know. Again, I'm super sassy today. Sorry. But so we feel this dissonance between where we feel like we should, there's that word, be emotionally, and where we are for a lot of people. And like, that's what kind of exacerbates postpartum depression, anxiety, OCD, the stressors that then the judgment that we place upon ourselves because we feel a certain way. And the frustration, like we have now in this technological age been able to create these communities. Like I said, I literally met somebody from Canada. I haven't been to Canada since 2012 for my girlfriend Lindsay's wedding. And before that, I hadn't been since 1998 for show choir, which we can talk about show choir. Isn't that hilarious? I cannot sing. Y'all heard me sing Smelly Cat last week. So, but it was fun anyway. And that's so great. That's lovely to be able to meet people and find the people who really are in that same space of support, non-judgment, not advice giving, willing to just sit with that sucks, or affirmation and whatnot. And so that's great. And then also too, it's like everything, literally to the point, like I said about my daughter and being able to smack her lips when she's hungry. Have you done baby sign language? Have you done? I'm like, oh my gosh, can't you just say she's cute and leave me alone? Of course I know what baby sign language is. Come on. It's like I don't know. It's like we're all trying to one up each other in momhood. And I use the word mom because I am a mom, parenthood. And I gotta admit, I don't know. My experience has mostly been people who identify as women, who identify as mothers. That's hilarious. Did y'all hear my dog just sigh? I'm sorry. Am I waking you up? Hi, Colonel. That mom shaming, like my other girlfriend from high school, she's a 4-month-old. And we were messaging yesterday about it. And I was like, and last week she posted this video of her daughter in a bouncy seat. And she's 4 months old and she's getting really strong, which is not surprising because my girlfriend is a baller cross country state. I don't think she was a champion, but she was good. And she went track with me, and her sons are crushing it at cross country right now. So her little 4-month-old baby is already trying to make that cross country team. I love it. Right. And so she posts this video of her daughter and a bouncer on a counter. And the 4-month-old is like very actively trying to get out of this bouncer. Adorable, hilarious, strength all day. You love to see it. And someone posts like, Mama, it might be time to strap her in. Do you think it might be time to strap? She's been strapping her in since she was a newborn and couldn't pick her head up, or I don't know, maybe she could pick her head up in the hospital. My son did that. That was really crazy. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like, why is it your instinct? We talked about this a while ago with Jessica Skinner when she was on, and we talked about motherhood and identity. And she actually sent me a note personally and was like, hey, I know your son really likes to climb, and that split table is right next to a balcony that goes over into the first floor from your second floor. And I hadn't thought about that. And that was really helpful. So I'm not saying that everything's bad, but like, do you really think that she's putting a baby in a bouncer on a cabinet, on a countertop, that's trying to crawl out without a strap? No, she's showing you a video of her trying. Y'all, like, just, so what I'm saying is, in this is the advice, like, stop giving advice, stop trying to fix, stop trying to rectify, correct, make it make sense for you, because it's not going to make sense for you, because it doesn't make sense for us. Like, it doesn't. We sit with this tension of like, I should feel this way, and I've always wanted this. And especially those of us who've had fertility struggles and spent thousands and thousands of dollars. And some people have had countless, I've had medical procedures, I've had things jabbed and here and who and people and they and woof everywhere, right? And people having to go undergo surgeries. I mean, it's just so much. So it's just been interesting. Of course, I want this. And then I get to this space, and some people don't, like, like they regret having a child, or they feel not worthy of being a mom. And, there's a whole story of like the good enough mother, right? And I'm like, the rhesus monkeys from the 50s, and like the wire monkey versus the cuddly monkey. And the wire monkey has food, but the cuddly monkey has cuddles. And so the monkeys were more attached to the cuddly monkey, even though it wouldn't feed them, because they wanted that support. And so it's like trying to help people get to that space of being able to recognize, but I'm a mental health professional and that's my job. So I'll have those conversations with people. It's like, where are you coming from? And I don't talk about rhesus monkeys, by the way. I just want to be clear, actually, before we go forward any further in this, before we go forward, I don't talk about rhesus monkeys. I mean, I guess I probably will at some point in my life, but with clients, but there is that space of trying to get to like the good enough space and being okay with not being perfect, not being a Pinterest mom, posting something and just ignore. And literally, so example, going back to my daughter and her non-sign language mouth language, and the person was like, have you heard of baby sign language? And I just wrote, yes, exclamation point. And I laughed. I wasn't going to be like, yes, and she uses it at school and and it's okay that she also, I just was like, yes. I moved on because I didn't want to be rude and I like this person, but also like, come on. And so so I wanted to read this specific passage, and I'm going to read actually the whole paragraph, if you will, bear with me, again, from The Art of Holding in Therapy, Karen Kleiman. I can't wait to fangirl about her with you all after this training next week. I feel like I'm going to do like a whole podcast episode on my training and be like, that was amazing. I feel so much better as a therapist and I know so much more. I would just get degrees on degrees on degrees if someone would pay with them. But if I want a PhD real bad, but my husband, and he's listening, would divorce me if I asked for more student loans for grad school. So, but I'd love to get the opportunity to learn and be better at what I do. So let me read this to you all. So the current emotional state of a postpartum woman, and again, postpartum woman, this is the catch-all term that they clarify in the beginning of this book. So I'm going to just read the book straight out, but that's just a catch-all clarification. So the current emotional state of a postpartum woman in distress is one that is jarring to her and not at all in harmony with her expectations. So again, I highlighted that and wanted to stop there. Whether or not you had fertility issues, depending on your choices that got you to the point of being pregnant, a lot of people wanted to get pregnant, wanted to have a child, wanted to be a parent, and then they get to parenthood and there's this discourse. I had these expectations right? And that's not, and it says jarring to her and not at all in harmony with her expectations. And I think people overlook that quickly. Like, do you think this is how people want to feel? Like, just get over it. Hold on, I'm gonna have a sip of tea. Excuse me. Got a little throat tickler. So just do some yoga, have some tea, take a bath, and I'm just gonna feel better. I just need to sleep. Well, first of all, you do need to sleep. To be fair, sleep is grossly underrated by people who are getting it. Sleep is very helpful. So I don't want to, all of these things can't be discounted. Self-care is not a commoditized thing though. And I think we're like, take a bubble bath, and bubble baths do work for some people. I see you, Laura. I hear you. And then other people, it's like, that's not, yeah. Anyway, so it represents irreconcilable discord for her. Trying to talk her out of that will be a waste of breath. Trying to talk her out of that will be a waste of breath. He, she, they, them, right? This is where many loving family members, friends, or healthcare practitioners, and I mean healthcare practitioners too, these are the people that it's like, you would hope that they would be able to have these conversations, or they even give us, how many people here, raise your hands, took the Edinburgh scale at your 6-week appointment, at your child's 1-week appointment, at their month appointment, right? And I'm like, what do y'all do with that? What do you, Kate and I talked about it, right? Like, what do you have to write on that? What score do you have to get for somebody to come in and be like, hey, I see that your score is really high. Should we talk about that? Like, what? I don't know, because I mean, I've been very lucky that my scores have always been low. But yeah, that reminds me, I'm going to talk about makeup in a minute too. So, okay, let me finish this though. I realize that I keep cutting myself off from the paragraph, but I want to like talk through each piece of it. This is where many loving family members, friends, or healthcare practitioners slide off course. Their attempts to normalize or minimize the difference between what she expected and what she experiences with an outpouring of platitudes ends up invalidating her suffering and alienating the support efforts. So I'm talking about counterproductivity, you all. Okay. When you try to give advice, man, I am preaching from a soapbox today. I apologize, but I got all energized from this paragraph specifically. Like I said, I dog-eared my book and everything. I just want to encourage people. I don't give advice. I have a master's degree. I am a therapist. I'm a professor of social work, and I don't give advice in therapy. That's not what therapy is. It's not, well, you need to do this, and this is going to fix everything. Because if we all could do that, then I would, like, if I could see the future, charging a lot more and being like, no, literally do this, and this is what's going to happen, and everything's going to be magically wonderful. And I have my own personal chef and a yacht, be best friends with Beyonce. But that's not what it is. It's just asking questions. And I think, again, you know how I end this podcast, be curious, not judgmental. When you come to somebody and say, oh, platitude, cliche, at least, y'all know how I feel about saying at least. Oh, you should feel this way. Should, you should feel that. Oh, this is the best time of your life to enjoy it. Oh, you just need a nap. Oh, you just need a manicure, which, I mean, a manicure is nice. It's nice. I do my nails, but yeah, that's not fulfilling of curing postpartum perinatal stressors and disorders. So ends up invalidating her suffering. So you're invalidating the human and alienating their support efforts. So then I don't want to talk to you anymore, because I know that when I come to you, you're going to be like, well, at least it's not this, and at least it's not that. Yeah. One of the things also in this book, which I'm going to stop talking about this book, but good book. Super excited for the training, is it talks about, and I knew this before the book, but I had just reread this section last night and kind of prepping for the class, was talking about like people who are freshly postpartum had this expectation of themselves based on, you know, societal constructs and expectations and all of this and that we're going to be the perfect, you know, like picture outside of the hospital. My hair is done. My makeup is done. I snap when the baby naps, and I make my own purees and all of Pinterest. And again, I feel so bad for Pinterest. Like, there are good things on Pinterest. I hate that Pinterest mom, but we know what a Pinterest mom is. So I'm not trying to dog Pinterest, and apologies to the good people who run that website. Or if somebody knows why I should not support Pinterest, let me know, and I will be educated by you as well, because I just know that it's like Karen, right? Like, this woman's name is Karen, and I love her as a professional, and also quit being a Karen, but like, she's not being a Karen, but her name is Karen anyway. And so we expect that of ourselves. We've envisioned, let's not use the word even expect, but we envision that. We envision this beautiful baby coming out, being instantly attached to this human, being so just overjoyed, overcome with this emotion we've never experienced before, because nothing ever mattered and nothing will ever matter again now that we've got this tiny baby in our lives. And maybe that's not everyone's expectation fully. That was dramatic, obviously, but there are levels of that are true for everybody in certain ways, and here and there in pieces. And so then we expect that, and other people, society, social media, the Facebooks, the Instas, the Pinterests, expect that of us. And then so a lot of people will even go so far as to do their hair and makeup and put on clothes, almost as an outward sign. Like, let's be honest, if you walk around with your hair all frizzy and disheveled and no makeup where you used to wear makeup, and clothes that are torn and puked on and not clean and smell, and that might be your real reality right now, and I am here for you and I support you. It's just, we don't then we work so hard to not portray that, and so we make sure that we don't look that way. And then providers, not to point the finger as I did earlier fully at providers, but like, people do slip through the cracks because we're not asking the right questions as providers. And then people are doing a good job of covering it up, because heaven forbid we not show up exactly how happy and amazing and wonderful as we were supposed to feel and how we wanted to feel. So not only external expectations, but our own hopes and dreams. So So yeah, so I wanted to really share that moment of recognizing that it is jarring, to use the word from the book, when you have these expectations and they are not how it is. You have a colicky baby who pukes all over you, who does not sleep, who won't let you put him down for 12 weeks of maternity leave. Not that I have any reference to any of those things. No, I'm literally describing my firstborn. And I'm lucky because y'all met Jensine and I was able to afford to pay for her to help me with sleep. So that at least helped me with one piece of that. And we were able to go to all the doctors to see what was going on with the reflux, and ends up my son was just a happy spitter, which is great because that means he didn't have any problems, which was less great because I'd puke all over me all the time. At that point, I just thought it was funny. Have I told y'all his baptism story? Puked all over me when he was being baptized. I handed him off to the pastor. Hi, Pastor Jarbo. And I was in a burnt orange dress, so the puke was very visible to everybody. And all you can do is laugh in those moments. For me, I thought it was funny. But yeah, so it's tough. It's all tough. I wish we could all get out of the space of giving advice. I wish we could all, like, let's have our first response be that sucks, or that sounds hard, or man, girl, I feel you. That sounds terrible. How can I help? Or, oh yeah, that does sound tough. Let me send you a dinner one night, something like that, right? So even offering, because sometimes saying, how can I help? You're going to get no. And if you're recognizing that pattern in a friend who you feel like you could help in some sort of way, that would be different too, right? So that's kind of my go-to, is like, let me know when you're hungry and I'm going to send you lunch on Uber Eats or Grubhub or something. So that definitely is an option, but those are like tangible things. Hey, I'm going to send you a Target or a Walmart order. Fine, but it's not, here's how I think you could be a better parent. No. Let's let our first response not be, oh, well, when I did it, when I was doing it, I did this. And here, have you heard of baby sign language? And no, let's not, because we don't want to invalidate suffering, invalidate your friend, loved one, partner, spouse, whatever's loved, like their suffering, and alienate your own support efforts. So I will jump right back off my soapbox. I apologize. That's a little preachy, Meg. I just felt really motivated to talk about it. So I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot me a DM, put some comments. Yeah. So I appreciate y'all taking the time, and I hope you have a great one. And as I said earlier in the podcast, and I will continue to say with everything, not only with other people, but especially with yourself too, be curious, not judgmental. Walt Whitman, Ted Lasso. Because that's when we get into some problems, is when we feel a certain way. Be curious. What is my body trying to tell me? What is my brain trying to tell me? Not, I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't think those things. What do I need to learn from this moment? Be curious, not judgmental. See y'all next time.